sounds like so much fun.
All right, here we go. I'm going to kick off YouTube here.
Okay.
Hey, everybody on YouTube. We are back with another week of Spaced Out Radio here. I'm excited for you guys, but I got to know right off the bat, what do you think of the new hairdo? What do you think of the new hairdo? Because, I literally went old school, not only with the hairdo, I didn't even get hair gel. I got Brill cream. All right. That's how old school I went with this one. But you know what? I am very happy with everything that kind of transpired. If you haven't seen the haircut video on our YouTube channel yesterday, you can go back and replay it. So for those of you who don't know, one of our listeners who is often in our chat room, Lisa Marie, I call her Redheaded Lisa. She is actually battling cancer for the third time. And a few weeks ago, she actually reached out to me and she's like, Dave, are you serious about donating your hair to cancer? And I said, yes, I am, because my mother is a 2-time cancer survivor. And this has always been a bucket list item for me to do this. That's the reason why I actually grew my hair. And then it just kind of took on a life of its own. Anyways, so she asked me point blank, can I have your hair? And I said, absolutely. So yesterday I cut my hair. And so now I've got the new hairstyle. I've got the beard trimmed. I'm feeling good. The only thing is I noticed with the new hairdo, I got to lose some weight. I have to lose, and I'm doing a great job of it drinking a strawberry milkshake from Dairy Queen right now. Yeah, so I'm really paying attention there. Caroline Cory is our guest tonight. She, just so you all know, she is my favorite Caroline Cory in the world. Yes, she is the only one I know, but that's why she's my favorite. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about the OMnium Method. And we're going to learn all about that. She's got a new video out and movie out. And you know what? She is a gorgeous personality. She is a great human being. I have wanted to get her on the show for years. And finally, we get this opportunity. I am absolutely pumped. And I hope you guys are too. And before I get Caroline to say hello to you guys, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody in our chat rooms. Kathari, good to see you. Desert Clam, thanks for coming in. The Ronald Penton and Little Deborah, thank you. Renee and Jarhead, good to see you here. Kingslayer and the Bee's Nest Movies, thank you for coming on in. Really appreciate that. Renee in New Zealand, how's tomorrow looking? Please let me know, since you live in the future, if I'm alive or not. Brett, thank you for coming on in. I appreciate that. Who else we got here? Super Ward in the alien videos right there. Good to have you here. Kira, you're looking stunning again today on your YouTube picture. Let's see. Who else do we got here? We have... As I scroll down, Greco, how's the baklava at your restaurant? Please let us know. Dick Daigle, everybody, drafted first overall in the NHL draft in 1993 by the Ottawa Senators. Don't tell him he's a bust, that's for sure. And anyways, who else we got? Crystal Light is here. Spookles the cat. Thank you. Nucker, we're getting closer, man. Training camp has started. We're going to make a run for the cup, man. Yes, we are. All right. Otis, thank you for coming on into our chat room for the first time. I appreciate you listening all the way from Wales. Chris Moe, thanks for coming on in. Adnome, how's your guitar strings? Let me know. Mark Salzman, good to have you back, my friend. Tammy Jackson, welcome to our chat room. I really do appreciate you taking the time. And Gary the Spudger, don't mess with the Spudger, people. YTPF or YTFP Chris, good to have you here. Thank you for coming on in. Cable Guy Matt is here, everybody. Don't forget, you can get your free piece of coaxial cable autographed by Cable Guy Matt. Remember, you can't buy these in stores. Limit one per household. All right. Thank you for coming on in, Cable Guy Matt. Chocobo, good to see you here. The Stu Gerson. Treehouse, good to have you back. Jim Christie, thank you for coming on in. Prairie Fire. Redheaded Lisa, how's my new hairdo look? This is all for you, sweetheart. And Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Martin R., good to see you here. Caroline Cory's here. Hi, Caroline.
Hey, Dave, how are you? What an introduction.
I know.
I'm so proud of you with your hair. That's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're about 45 seconds away. Rez, good to have you here. Thanks for coming on back in. Chris Jarvis, Lufon. Oh, we're packed up already. We're packed up. There's like 58 people in here already. Fap, good to see you. How's Grandma Rose, his 96-year-old grandmother who listens to the show with us? And yeah, we're having a good time here. Having a good time. I'm pumped up. I am pumped up for this one. Caroline Cory, people. We've never had her here before. This is a first. We're going to have so much fun with Caroline, man. It's going to be a blast. We got her for the first 90 minutes of the show. And then the second hour, we have Nicole Sakic coming in, talking some UFOs. She's a research assistant with Grant Cameron. Busy lineup, people. And we are pumped right up. There's the music. Super Chat is open. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, hit that subscribe button, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault on our website, and join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Let's kick off this week with one hell of a good show tonight. You're going to love it, because I'm coming on the air like right now. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Caroline Cory is a futurist, a visionary author, and the founder of OMnium Method of Learning and Energy Medicine. The OMnium Method is based on an experiential methodology that provides an instant and permanent cellular reprogramming to the original blueprint so that healing or learning may occur organically. This is no surface layer self-help. It is a profound method to reprogram your DNA. The OMnium Method utilizes a powerful and precise meditation technique called connecting to source, followed by the cellular reprogramming of the subconscious mind. So what does this actually mean? We're going to find out from Caroline Cory here momentarily. After Caroline's here for 90 minutes, Grant Cameron's research assistant, Nicole Sakic, is going to join us to talk about this awesome UFO sighting that she had recently and what it actually led to being found on her kitchen table. I mentioned this the other night. She's coming in to talk about this as well. Caroline Cory, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm on a little bit of a bubble and a little bit of a high here because, you know, I got my hair cut yesterday. So for a lot of people who don't know, I actually donated my hair to a good listener of ours who is suffering from cancer. And so I had 15 inches of my hair cut off. 15 inches. First haircut since August of 2017. And I'm feeling good again. I almost feel like I got some vibration happening to me. I feel cleansed. Good soul. Good soul. You know.
That's incredible. It's very healing to help others. Very healing.
Absolutely. But this isn't about me. This is about you. And you know, I have wanted to interview you for about the last 3.5, 4 years. And you are a very, very busy person. And you are what I would consider an A-lister in this field because of the hard work and the tenure that you have. And you're one of the most brilliant women in this field. And I am so glad to have you here for the first time. Thank you so much for hanging out with our audience.
Oh, this is awesome. I didn't know you've been waiting so long. Sorry about that.
Oh, it happens. It happens. But more importantly about you, for people who may not be familiar with you and your work, we're going to get into that here quite a bit here over the next little bit. But for you, how did you get involved with this entire field? Was it a lifetime experience or was it something that you just researched yourself into?
Oh, no, this was a direct experience that I had. It started out when I was 5 years old. I had an experience where I suddenly saw beings. They weren't aliens, but they were so kind of aliens. They were light beings, so to speak, and we started communicating telepathically. It was amazing. It wasn't scary. It wasn't weird. And it was then that I realized that I could actually see and hear and sense and communicate with other beings and other realities. And so, of course, when this happens to you, first of all, when you're 5, you think, oh, everybody does that. It's no big deal. So I didn't think anything special at the time, but it got me thinking and wondering, how is that possible? How is it possible for my brain to pick up information, to see beings that nobody else could see? And so I got into the field of consciousness. How does consciousness work? How does reality work? How do we tap into different spectrums of reality and things like that? And then I had other encounters as I was growing up. So it was definitely direct experiences that I had. And so I wanted to research that and work with other people just to kind of know more about this phenomenon. And I ended up pretty much developing methodology for energy medicine, for healing, for consciousness expansion, for psychic abilities, all that sort of consciousness awareness, if you will, for over 20 years, working with so many people around the world. And then eventually I started making movies because I realized not everybody wants to go to a workshop or read books. People want to just like sit back, relax, and watch movies. So I started making movies, on contact with extraterrestrial intelligence and things like that. And now my new film is called Superhuman.
It is something that we are going to get into pretty good tonight, is your new movie, Superhuman. And, we'll do that more in the next half hour here. But for you, as we learn about you, when you started having that type of contact, did you feel you were different? Did you feel that you were having an extraordinary experience, or did you think that everybody was having that experience as well?
I thought everybody was exactly like that. I didn't think anything special about it. Like, it was more, that's what happens when you're 5. Oh, that's what happens when you're 10. And I think it was a good, healthy thing because it didn't scare me. And a lot of people ask me, well, did you talk about it to your parents? Did you share it? Did you tell your friends? And I didn't, exactly because of that. Because first of all, it was familiar, it was comfortable, it wasn't scary at all. And because I thought it was natural. It was much later when I was an adult that I realized, like, wait a minute, not everybody can see spirit. Not everybody can communicate. So of course I got into the field. When I went to college, I wanted to study psychology to make sure I wasn't crazy, because when I realized that not everybody was picking up all this subtle energy and reading people's energy and healing people just by touching them, I wanted to know more. And so I studied psychology in school, and you start to kind of, you put yourself on the judgment stand, the checklist of anomalies that you could have. Am I schizophrenic? Am I psychotic? Am I this? Am I that? And of course, there's nothing wrong with me. If anything, I was just ahead. And so I just started trusting myself that, hey, this is different. This may not be the norm, but this is a gift. And so, and then I started to have validation, more and more and more validation that what I was doing was real. I would see somebody for the first time, they'd be struggling with something. I'd tell them, yes, it's because you had a drowning experience when you were 7, and it was exactly that. They'll be like, how did you know? And then we would shift that trauma and their problem would go away over and over and over. So that validation was important because it told me that, okay, I wasn't crazy. And then whatever I was doing was real. So eventually I started trusting myself and then getting into the field of healing and teaching others to do the same.
It's amazing how many people just kind of get like almost like they're punched in the guts with this supernatural phenomena, and it shifts their entire life paradigm. Did you feel that happened to you?
Yes, absolutely. Because the more you get validation, the more you question it. You're like, wait, how did I know that this guy had this trauma when he was 7, or this woman, was born a twin and the twin died, when nobody, like you start to kind of realize that you're tapping with something extraordinary. And so even though it's coming naturally to you, but like your head, your human mind kicks in and you start questioning it and wondering how that could be possible. And so because of this questioning, it starts to kind of throw you off. You feel like your whole life is upside down all of a sudden. Like, how am I going to cope with this? And what does that mean? Moving forward, how do I balance the two? And so, yeah, definitely.
So, Caroline, as you went through this and you're growing up and you decide to kind of push your education towards learning more about the psychology of people, how did it meld with the fact that you wanted to learn more about the superhuman side of everything and the experiences people were having?
Yeah, because in psychology, what happens is you learn to basically speak about your problems. That's how you go about healing something. And so when I by the time I got to graduate school, I realized that the way to heal as a psychologist is to let the person just talk about it, which is good. It's very healthy, but in other words, it always goes back to a problem of the mother or the father, as a child, and that's about it. It still kind of feels very mental, like on a mental level. Whereas what I was doing, what I was tapping into, was energetic. It was like way, way, way beyond. I could see literally the subconscious of the person, but not only that, not like just the root cause of their struggles, but more like their lineage. Like I would look at them and I could see what star system they came from. I could see like so far like in the universe, and I could see like why they chose this incarnation, what kind of karma they had, why they had to kind of sometimes split their consciousness to achieve certain things. In other words, I would see certain things that was way, way, way past psychology. That's the reason why I almost never talk about it. I never say that I'm a psychologist, because the real work I realize is beyond that. And so that was a lot more fascinating to me, because it was more about the true essence of the person, like who they really are and what they came to do here on Earth, and how sometimes they're part of a non-human intelligence. I call them a non-human lineage. And so that was a lot more fascinating.
I can see that. I can see where that would be fascinating. So with extraterrestrials, do you call them extraterrestrials, or do you believe they're ultra-terrestrials, or just family from the future, or a different dimension? What is your definition of that?
All of the above. They're all kinds of different types of beings. And for me, they're not just extraterrestrials, like material beings from other planets. I mean, there are those, but even, for example, spirit beings, or, angelic beings or light beings, they're not extraterrestrials like we think of them, like the Greys or whatever.
Right.
But they're not human. So what would you call them, So it's a whole range, I would say. In fact, go ahead.
Are they angels? Yeah. Spirit guides?
Sorry?
Are they angels or spirit guides?
Yeah. Yeah, some of them are angelic form. Some of them are guides. They're material form. They're different types of material entities. that are, but from different planets or different star systems. And sometimes they're universal type beings, more like light forms. So all kinds.
Wow. Caroline Cory is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When did you decide that you wanted to start blending this research into film, and why was that?
Well, because I was teaching and lecturing and doing, healing sessions for like, I don't know, 15 years. And I realized that it was a lot of work. A lot of people had a hard time, sitting in a classroom for hours and hours and, having to do the work in this way or having to read the books over and over. And so I realized that I need to find a different medium. So I started creating apps at one time, and then little multimedia kind of videos. And then I was like, okay, we need to make a movie here. That's what people want to watch. And it's much easier.
Do you find that your message gets across more when you make a movie rather than, maybe do the lecture circuit or maybe, do a YouTube live stream or something along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's also a different. It's a completely different platform altogether because you also have to know how to make a film. I mean, there's the production. I like to do things very high quality, and so I had to kind of think about the production value of the film, how you tell a story. You don't just like slap things together. I mean, even in a class, you don't just slap things together. But still, it's a discussion. It's live. It's different. In a film, because you have to present a final product and you can't discuss it anymore. You just have to kind of hand it over to the audience, to the viewer. It has to be perfect. I mean, in terms of the quality of the production, the music, the pace of it, the storytelling. You have to. So it's a lot more involved than, hey, I'm just going to talk about angels and spirit guides. I wanted to make a real film that has that quality to it as well.
How difficult is that? How difficult is it to find the people, the people who are trustworthy in their research, the people who are trustworthy in their scientific background, or even for the experiencers?
It's actually quite difficult, I have to say. So, because I also wanted to make it as credible as possible. And so because of that, I really had to look for the folks that came across that way, that were truthful and, in their heart as they were expressing their story, telling their stories. And so it took a while, but eventually I think I attracted, to me, a high caliber cast, I think, experts and scientists. In this film for sure.
Now, we're, like I said, we're going to get into Superhuman here, your next film coming up here when we come back from the break. We got about 5 minutes to go before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. Caroline Cory is our guest tonight. As we learn more about you, would you consider yourself an experiencer, or do you consider yourself someone who had an extraordinary experience that led to a lifetime of change? How would you define that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think in the world of, ufology and contact, I think I would be labeled as contactee or experiencer. But to me, I'm that, but I'm also, I think, someone who has always experienced not just contact with other intelligences, but other realities. I feel like it's like a channel, and my consciousness has always been open to that, the world's beyond, like on the other side of the veil, so to speak. I think I've always been that way. And I think what I learned along the way and practiced is to know how to manage that, how to balance the two, and how to know what's real, what's not real, and how to make sense out of what I was tapping into.
What did you tap into? I won't tell anybody, just between you and me.
Well, I mean, like I said, like pretty much everything. Like I could see the fabric of time space itself. I could see, for example, how reincarnation actually happens. Um, so all kinds of subject matter, if you will. Um, how I came into existence and things like that. And yeah, fascinating. Or how communication happens from between the realms,
Oh,
where
yeah,
we
you
go
have to
after we die.
you have to tell me that. How does that communication happen?
So, like I said, when I was 5, that was the very first time when I experienced telepathic communication. And I remember it very, very well because I saw as if my brain and my consciousness and the being's consciousness were merged. It's like as if we became one. And I could see that whatever they thought, their thought form was just like transferred into my consciousness like a zip drive. It was like a code. They were all a bunch of codes. And so the code would come into your consciousness. So it's not like they speak English or French or Chinese or whatever. They speak with this universal code. And then when it gets into your brain, your human brain breaks it down into your human language. So you would understand it and hear it in English or French or Dutch or whatever, but it's not that they spoke your language. They spoke with that universal language that you are also tapping into. Does that make sense?
It kind of does. It kind of does.
So in other words, everybody on one level speaks with the human language, but then on a higher level, everybody's tapped into that universal code.
Can we all do this?
Yeah, absolutely. We just don't know how. I mean, when was the last time you heard at school that, hey, you can communicate telepathically. This is how you do it. Or, this is how you meditate. Or this. I mean, they don't teach us any of that stuff. So by the time we're teenagers, we think it's weird. And by the time we're 40, we're like, but this is very, very natural.
You say it natural, like it's so nonchalant, as we got about a minute to go here. But for a lot of us, we're like, well, how the hell do we do this? What do we got to do in order to get some telepathy happening here?
Well, so again, it's like it's a type of meditation that you have to practice, not just any type of meditation. So that's one. You also want to believe, because if you don't believe that this is possible, so that's half the battle. Because then your consciousness is like, this is not going to work for me, so it's not going to work. So there's a little bit of that needs to happen. But then once you open up to it, you just practice it. It's like it's not as difficult. It's just really you just have to kind of know what to do, what meditation to do, what experiences to have, what exercises, right, what training you should have. Yeah,
absolutely. Caroline, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Caroline, Cory, we're going to get into a brand new movie called Superhuman, coming up next on Spaced Out Radio. Now, how fast was that?
Yeah, that was great.
Uh-huh. What's the accent?
Who's making you laugh?
Who's making me laugh? Oh, my friend Barther here.
Yeah. Oh, German, French.
Nice combination. Nice combination. All right. We are going to go into Superhuman next. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right. Hey, thank you, Anthony, Lord of Land, and Fapster for the super chats. Really do appreciate that. We're having a lot of fun tonight. A lot of fun. Your energy is incredible on the air there, Caroline.
Oh, good.
That's awesome. Awesome. Loving it.
That's good. That's good.
Are you having fun so far?
Yeah. So you're mostly focused on UFOs and stuff like that, right?
I do it all. Doesn't matter what the
Is this
subject
where you met me through all the UFO stuff?
Yeah, kind of. That's where I've been kind of, researching. Some people, excuse me. I swear to God, my mouse just died. There we go. Now it's working. So pretty much I've been following you on the whole UFO extraterrestrial type contact type stuff. That's kind of my forte. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo too. So yeah.
I thought maybe you saw me on Ancient Aliens or something.
No, I'm just a how can I put this without sounding too much like a weirdo? They, if I can call them they, whoever they are, don't allow me to watch the shows or read books on it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that ended for me in March of 2014.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they asked me to stop. So I did.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. And a couple weeks after that, I had a landing right in front of me, about 150 yards away. And 5 days after that, I saw my first extraterrestrial in the middle of the day in a forest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Are you in Canada?
Yes. I'm in British Columbia, just north of you.
Cool.
Yeah. So they have changed my entire pattern in life. And now I lived a happily boring life, and now I don't. Now I just live a happily weird life. 1 second here. Make a quick text because I think my battery is dying in my mouse.
I'm reading some of the questions. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Can you see if we have... Oh, yes. The short hair is feeling good tonight. A little bit of Brill cream action in there. Not going to lie. It is Brill cream. All right. Just have to get that out of the way. We have about minute 10 left. Then I'll reintroduce the show, reintroduce you, and then we're off and running.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it wasn't scary to get my hair cut, Michael. Wasn't scary whatsoever. It was very cool. And it was a very easy decision. Very easy decision. I will say that. All right, about 40 seconds. Seeing if I have an extra battery here. Don't know if that's a dead one or a good one. Uh-oh. We'll just save that until when we're talking. Let's get back on the air first. How about that? See, now they know that you're looking. They're asking. They're chatting with you now. Right. Here we go.
Only on
You will find this
spacedoutradio.com.
weird, wacky button.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Tonight we are talking with Caroline Cory. She is a brilliant researcher when it comes to the field of the universe, communication with other sides, other entities. She has a brand new movie out called Superhuman, which you're going to want to check out. I got to see a little tease of it, and it's kind of exciting. And I highly suggest you follow her. Her website, well, for the movie, is superhumanfilm.com, and her other website is omniumuniverse.com as well. Caroline, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Oh, I'm glad you're having a good time. We're going to get into Superhuman here. So for people who have not seen it yet or want to see it or planning to see it, give us a definition of what it's all about from your eyes.
So basically, it's about demonstrating how psi phenomena can be real. What happens is we do actual experiments and demonstration to show how consciousness can affect physical matter, and which validates the idea that our mind, our consciousness creates our reality, that our mind can affect our physical body, physical health. You know, we've been hearing about these concepts for years and years and years and years. You know, now doctors tell us, you know, meditation is helpful for your stress level, to heal yourself and things like that. But most of the time, these are all theories. Theories or just kind of ideas that are very true. But what I wanted to do in the film is to demonstrate, to validate, to show scientifically how that could be possible, that your mind does affect your physical body and your physical reality and creating your reality. So we go about doing different experiments in the film. For example, we demonstrate how remote viewing is possible, how with the mind you can change the pH of water just by focusing on it, how you can shift the electrical conductivity in DNA samples, how you can move a physical object, doing telekinesis, how you can literally see without your eyes, without physical eyes. And so I think this has never been demonstrated in this way in a documentary format. We've been hearing about it, but that's what makes this film very different.
Okay, so there's a lot of serious topics here that we have covered on this show before, but you have seemed to take it to a brand new level. You have a multitude of scientists who have, you know, put their name in front of this, that they are very, very astute to what is going on. The two that jump out to me would be Dr. Dean Radin, who's been a guest on this show, and Dr. Eben Alexander, who's the head of Harvard Medical, who actually, I believe, had his own near-death experience. And he never believed in anything like this until that actually happened to him. And then all of a sudden, it's changed his entire life for research, trying to figure out what it is. How hard was it to get these professionals from everywhere from Ivy League schools to come on here and put their name and their background and their credentials to talk about this?
To be honest, it wasn't that difficult because the real topic was about consciousness, which is what they are about. So, Dean Radin, it's the Institute of Noetic Sciences. It's the study of consciousness. So that's really what the film is about. So because of this, it wasn't about UFOs, or it wasn't about something that's too out there. It was more along the lines of the research that they were into anyway. But it's hard to coordinate schedules, and everybody's has their own as plans and projects. But I think it is because the film was about consciousness, the science of consciousness, and because the approach also was very different. I think it was more attractive to them as well to be involved.
Okay.
In fact, Dean Radin just saw the film. He said he loved it. And we have Tom Campbell. It's I think that's why.
Okay, so for people who may not understand the ability of consciousness, this is something that we all have, but the majority of us have forgotten on this planet how to use it. Why, in your opinion, when it comes to Superhuman, is it so important to discuss the levels of consciousness that are out there?
This is who we are. I think it is really the nature of reality. And so to me, it is not just important, it's mandatory that you begin to understand how you work, how your consciousness work, who you are, because we're taught since we're kids that if something's wrong with our body, we go take a pill, we take a drug or whatever. We're always looking outside ourselves to heal, to kind of fix us. And I think we have the ability to self-heal, self-repair, self-maintain. We just don't know how. And so the film is a big reminder that just by thinking, just by focusing your intent, you are literally changing the fabric of time-space. You are literally affecting a physical matter. And so, for example, one of my favorite demonstrations in the film, the experiment we did with pH, changing the pH in water. To me, this was very important because what we did is we focused on water, and with the intent, we wanted to change the pH, raise it or lower it according to what the intent was. And for those who are listening, just for you to know, like, we don't just do an experiment like that. We take a water sample and we test it for a long period of time, over and over and over. We take several measurements so we know, okay, the pH is 7.4, whatever. And exactly at a certain time, we intend for the pH to change up or down. And so then during that time, we take a measurement again. And then when we stop focusing our intent, then the measurement goes back to the baseline, the way it was before. That's how we know that it was exactly the intention that changed the measurement. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. And so every single time that we did this test, and I've done it many times before the film, even long distance, we were able to change the pH of water just by focusing on it. And the reason why this is so significant is because, first of all, we all know that alkaline water is healing. Viruses, bacteria cannot survive alkaline. They like acidic environments. And we are made of water, mostly water. So if we can do this to a glass of water, this means that we can do it to our bodies. That's why this is one of the experiments that is a huge, huge demonstration of how just by focusing your intent, you can literally change the chemistry of your body. It's crazy, don't you think?
I don't know. I've been trying to change my own chemistry for a long time, and it's not working. But that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I find that fascinating because, as my good friend Mike in one of our chat rooms said, water has a memory. It responds to positive and negative energy, but we don't know how much of that memory it actually holds. I mean, so when you're changing the pH balance through whether it's meditation or thought or telepathy or whatever it is, how does the mind translate that to water? Is there some sort of invisible signal that is going from your mind to the water to change it? Is it all about the positive energy that you were putting into it? I'm not quite grasping that.
Yeah, exactly. That is what consciousness is. Consciousness is a form of energy, and energy is interacting with other energies, in this case, water. So your consciousness, even Dr. Rudy Shield, he calls it quantum waves. He says that consciousness is like a wave. Everything has a wave function. So the quantum wave of your consciousness becomes coherent with the waves of the water. I mean, not the waves that the water's making. I'm talking about the molecules. And so when that happens, if you're having positive thoughts, then the water can react to it because you're becoming coherent and in resonance with each other. Mm-hmm. So there is physics behind it, but obviously, like, researchers aren't looking there, at that level. And so what we're demonstrating and measuring and quantifying here is the effect of consciousness on the biological system.
Okay.
And every single time we find that it works.
See, I get that when it comes to plants, okay? Because it's been proven scientifically that plants have feelings, they have emotions, they react differently to music. My plants, for instance, love heavy metal. They don't like country music, and they die when country music's playing. I mean, but I say that with all due selfishness, of course. But I mean, I understand that with plants. I understand that with animals, but with water, it reacts so differently, whether there's vibration, whether there's gravity, whether there is everything that on this planet that kind of pulls and mixes into it. So the fact that it is able to almost telepathically communicate with consciousness it seems a little far out there, if I can use it that way.
Well, why? I mean, to me, it's the other way around. Why is it okay for plants to respond to your consciousness, but not water? I mean, we're made mostly of water. So it's really, in fact, as you know, Dr. Emoto demonstrated that how the shape of the water molecules was changing. They did that experiment with grains of rice. They saw how when you project negative thoughts, it will change as opposed to when you project positive thoughts. So these experiments have been done over and over. And actually, William Tiller did an experiment with water with the pH, and it was a group of people, I think, that they focused their intent on water, and they were able to change the pH. And so it's not so far out there, because the plants and everything else is also made of water. So to me, it's even better. In fact, when I was doing all these experiments, it was much easier to affect and change a biological system like water or even DNA. We worked with DNA samples. It's almost like it would respond instantaneously. It was almost like faster than the speed of light. It was like it knew what I was going to ask of it. Which was very, very different than when we did telekinesis, for example. When you try to move a piece of paper, when you try to affect a piece of paper, it was very bizarre. It was as if the paper had an ego or something. It was like you try to move it and it'll be like, I'm not moving. It was like, you want me to go right? Well, I think I'm going to go left. It was very bizarre. It's like, it's a dynamic, of course, that feels very, very different when you're working with different mediums. So anyway, it's just doing these experiments over and over. We learn a lot about how our consciousness interacts with this different aspects of the physical world. And it's absolutely fascinating.
Caroline Cory is our guest tonight. She has a brand new movie out called Superhuman that we are discussing right now. Now, a few minutes ago, you mentioned a very powerful little 3-letter statement that mind affects reality. Now, for a lot of people, when we think of it on an amateur psychological level, we think that, if somebody maybe has been exposed to health problems or maybe fetal alcohol syndrome or fetal drug syndrome or something along those lines, that we could see where that has some sort of chemical imbalance with that. But you're taking this to an entirely different level en route to dealing with consciousness, that you can almost create a different reality for yourself.
Yes, absolutely. So what we've done in the film is demonstrate and show scientifically how, it's possible for consciousness to affect these different things, like I said, water or a piece of paper or an object or what have you. And then we also demonstrated it long distance to also show that when you have a thought, you don't have to be affecting something in your immediate environment. It could be anywhere in the universe for that matter, because of entanglement, because everything is connected. And so when you start to take this further, like one step further every time, you realize that what are you doing actually? You are projecting your thoughts in this unified field, in this large container of information that everyone is tapped into. And so to me, let's say this large container is part of it anyway, is like the planetary grid. Part of it is time space, the time space continuum. And so every time you have a thought, it's like a signal that comes out of your brain, and it interacts with the time-space continuum. It becomes part of the time-space continuum. It becomes part of the history of the planets. Like, so if I'm doing that and you're doing that and everybody's doing that, everybody's thinking and pouring information in this large container, this unified field, that becomes what we call the Akashic record. Does that make sense? Because
yes.
It's like a library of information. And so because of that, this also explains how I could have a thought and you could have the same thought, and even though you're on the other side of the planet. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that becomes your reality. It's this larger stream of consciousness that we all draw from. We draw information from. And so that tells us that every time you have a thought, you are adding to this larger stream of consciousness, which is reality, if you will. Does that make sense? I hope it's making sense. To me, it makes perfect sense. So this larger stream of consciousness is what we call reality. And so the idea is the more you pour positive thoughts and positive information, the more you draw a similar frequency, if you will, into your existence. And so that's why whatever you put in comes back out.
Okay. So if somebody is, say, born with positive energy, they are someone who is going to emit that. They're going. Do they have more success in life? Do they just have a happier lifestyle than, say, somebody who is born into a situation where parents are arguing all the time? Maybe it's divorce. Maybe it's abuse of some kind.
Yeah, and in fact, that's how a lot of children are affected by what's happening in the home, in the environment, because the parents are, when they're fighting, they're pouring all this negative energy in the environment, in the time space of that environment, and so the child is kind of now inside this container and is tapping into that energy. So of course, if they're not protected, then they don't know how they're going to be affected. So yes, I think when you are born or you're raised in a space that is very negative, it's kind of hard for you to to try to find your positive state. That's why a lot of people just end up leaving or disconnecting or something.
Okay.
So that they can find their way and begin to create their own positive reality.
Okay, so putting it in layman's terms, would this be one of those situations that you studied in Superhuman about why people always complain that maybe they're followed by a black cloud over top of them, that, if they didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all kind of atmosphere? Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah, and also because we showed such extreme cases of mind over matter, it's kind of like if I'm showing you exactly how, I'm moving this physical object with my mind under scientific conditions. Like I said, we've done experiments with telekinesis under vacuum. Not just like sometimes you see stuff on YouTube, people like moving stuff, but actually there's a lot of air or electromagnetic, in space, in the space around it that could explain how this is done. But we've done it under vacuum. We've shown how we're able to see, read, do all kinds of stuff completely blindfolded, again, scientifically. So if we're able to do all of these things, it means that your consciousness can do anything. That's the point of the movie. It's to empower you to realize that, wait a minute, if I'm able to move something under vacuum or see with the blindfold on, it means that I can overcome my illness. I can overcome whatever problem I have. If I know how to focus my consciousness, then you can apply it to everything. That's the point.
Okay, so if we have that ability and that strength to use that, what are the results coming from a lot of the neuroscientists that you have on board with this?
What do you mean the results?
Like, are they testing, as they're testing both positive and negative in regards to people in these studies? Are they noticing that the human behavior actually, literally expels their entire environment, or is it enclosed to what that person is focused on?
It's really what the person is focused on. That's the problem, and that's the point, actually. And that's the point of this whole movie. It's like, this isn't just a concept anymore. This isn't a theory. This is real. What you focus on is going to happen. And I just showed you how, and why scientifically.
Yeah.
So
okay, so let's change that a little bit. What were the differences between, say, adults who took these studies or were studied upon comparatively to children?
Yeah, I mean, so there's different studies were done, but I don't know if you got to the movie with where the blindfolds were. That was towards the end. But so basically, for that study, it was children and adults from all over the world.
Yes.
And yes. And basically, children are able to learn. In fact, we just taught a class online with few children. And we taught them how to basically read and do all kinds of stuff completely blindfolded. And after 2 lessons, they were able to do that.
Oh my goodness.
Whereas with we have the videos. I mean, it's online, so it's not, and the parents were there, so we know that there's no cheating. And so, and whereas with adults, it takes much longer because the adult has to, question everything, and
yes.
like it has to make sense of everything and the belief systems and all of that stuff. So for children and adults is a whole different thing. So the studies are different, and you have to study like many children and many people. For a long time.
Carolyn, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. 1 hour down. We have Caroline Cory for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. Then we're going to get into some UFO talk with Nicole Sackage. Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. This is awesome. Just awesome. I hope you're having fun.
Yeah, I hope it's okay. I hope it's not too complicated.
No, you're breaking it down perfectly.
You're doing great. I don't know how far you're doing great. I don't know how far in a movie you've seen. That's why I didn't want to.
Oh, I never give up what I've seen and what I don't. Never. It's my secret. Damn it. It's my secret. I got you covered. Put it that way. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay. No worries.
There's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines Report.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble.
All right,
tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up.
There we go. Good show so far. Good show. This is good stuff.
Good.
Yeah, I think so. And, yeah. There was no deer, which is good, which means my dogs come in quickly. All right. Thank you so much, Patrick, for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. Thank you, Jarhead, Fapster, Lord of Land, Anthony. I appreciate it all, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. That is way too kind. Way too kind. All right. We got about 60 seconds. Oh, you got a message. All right, 30 seconds. 15 seconds.
We can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love.
All right,
get your
5
Spaced Out
seconds.
Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
All right, music's on. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. All of our archives are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Kinderspiel. Kinderspiel is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Tonight we are talking with Caroline Cory. We have her till the bottom of the hour here. She's got a brand new movie out called Superhuman, which can be found at superhumanfilm.com. I highly suggest you check it on out. Caroline, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. We should let the audience know, where can they find this movie?
Yeah, just go to superhumanfilm.com and then they will see all the information there.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Superhumanfilm.com. In this movie, you have a number of people here who our listeners may recognize, from Robert Picardo from Star Trek Voyager and Grey's Anatomy to Corey Feldman from Stand By Me and The Lost Boys. I still love that movie, The Lost Boys. Why was it important to get the cast in there?
Yeah, so what happens is part of the film was to also show that it wasn't just a few people who were psychic that could do these things. I wanted to show that anybody can do this, from somebody you may know or some random person in any country in the world. So that's the reason why I started thinking like, oh, is there somebody I could invite to be a guest? And we would basically just teach them how to do telekinesis or remote viewing and see how, if they can do it. And so that's how the idea came about. And I spoke with a casting director and we kind of started casting some folks in the film. And it was pretty incredible because for example, Cory or Rachel Brooksmith or Naomi, they've never done anything like this. And so they would come on set and we would teach them how to do telekinesis. And in 2 hours, they were able to do it. It was incredible. So that's the reason why I had those folks in the film.
Telekinesis. It is such an interesting topic when it comes to that. What's it like to telepathically communicate with someone or something?
Well, it's very interesting because, as I was saying earlier, it's not the same thing when you tap into water or a biological system or a person. It feels very organic. It feels very, I don't know how to say it, like clear. But when you're communicating, like when you're doing telekinesis, trying to move an object, you're literally communicating with that piece of paper or that piece of foil or a piece of wood or whatever. You're telling it to move. And so it was very bizarre. Like the very first time we tried it, it's as if you were speaking to a person. It's as if it had a consciousness of its own. And it was, a lot of the time it would be like resisting, as if you had to kind of convince it to do what you wanted to do. So it's very fascinating, the different ways of communication with the different things.
How does it happen though? So if I'm wanting to send you a telepathic communication, do we have to be on the same page? Do we have to be in the same meditation type or meditative type state? How does it work?
Yeah. So actually there's different techniques, but I usually tell people to imagine that they have brain channels, as if you had channels coming out of your brain. And instead of plugging your channels to, whatever the space, you plug them into that person's brain. Of course, it's energetic. You're not plugging anything. And so, but the idea is for the person to also be open. You want both people to be open to the idea, which would facilitate the communication. So, for example, when we did an experiment in the film about remote viewing, it's called an outbounder experiment. And we had one of the actors in the film, actresses, her name is Rachel, and she had never done anything like this before. And we had somebody from the Stargate program actually teach us how to do the remote viewing the way they taught it in the government. And so he taught Rachel how to do remote viewing, and a few of us went to a remote location. And with the remote viewing, she was trying to find out where we were, what we were doing, what kind of location it was, what it looked like. And so it was incredible because, again, we just taught her in like 2 hours. And then a couple of us went to that location. And basically, in terms of telepathic communication, it was almost like she wanted to tap into my consciousness to know where I was at that location. And she was able to retrieve all kinds of information. It was incredible. She saw colors, she saw shapes, she saw me do specific things that weren't part of the plan, So the fact that, and she had never been to that location before, and she had never done this exercise before. So to answer your question, I was open to her receiving, and she also was plugging her consciousness into my consciousness. And because of that openness, she was able to retrieve so much specific and accurate information.
Okay, so when we're looking for that specific and accurate information, what are we looking for? Things within ourselves or things that are within our realm of reality at that point?
It's not like that. It's kind of like you will feel that you are aligned, or you will feel blocked, or you will feel, it's not like you're looking like specifically. It's just a feeling, a sensation that, oh, it's like a pathway that's open, go for it. And then, or it's not happening at all. And so, but when you feel that there's this pathway opening, the information just comes to you. It just comes to you. Now, some people pick up the information visually. Like, for example, I see things at a distance. So I see them as like little videos, as if I see the movie, in my third eye type thing. But other people get a sensation, like, for example, they feel that it's hot. They feel they're outdoors. They feel there are trees. They feel there are birds. So a lot of people will pick up the information through feelings. Other people will hear things. So the idea is to first have that tunnel, like that opening, feel clear, and then those types of sensations will come to you, and then you will feel and experience where you are and what's going on.
Caroline Cory is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Her new film, Superhuman. You can find it at superhumanfilm.com. Highly suggest you check it on out. Okay, so these actors that you brought in who've never had any types of experiences like this before, you know, you have 3 men, you have 3 women. Obviously, you want even numbers to see where the balance kind of lies out here. Were there any similarities that all 6 of them were able to respond to?
No, not at all. It was actually quite random. A lot of things like the women were, I mean, it's not like we compared everybody, not everybody did the same exercise, in other words. So we couldn't kind of compare them that way. But just from their behavior, so to speak, or their reaction to the actual experience or experiment, I could tell there are certain differences. Some of them were more sensitive than others. Some totally exceeded our expectations. Like I said, I mean, it was incredible what they were able to do. So you know, it wasn't kind of, oh, the guys did this, so the women did that.
Okay, so where did remote viewing come into play here for our audience?
Yeah, so remote viewing, I wanted to include that because a lot of people are familiar with it, and then that again leads to the idea of telepathy and intuition. How can you know something that is happening on the other side of the planet? And so I wanted to include an experiment like that in the film. And so we did that. I just mentioned the one with Rachel, the outbounder experiment.
All right. So are you a big believer in remote viewing? Because this leads to Gary's question, and he is asking, what is the best way, in your opinion, to remote view, in a sleepy meditation mode or charged up?
No, absolutely not in sleeping mode. It's actually a technique that you learn. Now, the way the government teaches it is very, very different than the way I teach it. And so, in fact, we just gave a class. People can go to the website, actually, if they're interested in learning. On superhumanfilm.com, if you go to workshop, you will also see some classes on telekinesis, remote viewing, because what was happening when we were filming, the reaction of the crew and the people who were just watching was incredible, because they saw these random folks come in and learn something in 2 hours and be able to move an object. So they were like, wait, I want to learn this. How do you do this? So because that was the reaction, we started teaching these classes. And so we have them listed on the workshop on the website if people are interested. But anyway, to answer your question, so the government, the way they taught that, it has more to do with your subconscious mind. So you are given a target, because they used it during the Cold War to spy on the Russians. That's how it all came about, actually, in the U.S. And so you are given a target remotely, and you are asking literally your subconscious mind to allow the information to come to you. And so you start to see images, you sense things, you smell things, you see shapes and colors, and you basically just write down everything that is coming to you. That's the gist of it. That's how they taught it. But the way I teach it is very different. It's more, instead of letting things come to your subconscious mind, you are actually transporting, you are actually extending your consciousness, and you're traveling through time, space to that location, and you are observing. It's a very, very different feeling and experience. I think people should try that, and then they can feel what is, the one that's more comfortable for them. And, you'd be amazed. Like I said, the purpose of this film is to show that anybody can do this. And it's much easier than you think. You just have to have a little bit of, like navigation technique, a little bit of training, and that's it. And it's so much fun. We just taught people to bend spoons for the first time. People were having so much fun. They were posting their videos on the forum, and, the remote viewing was also so much fun. People should just try it.
I would love to bend a spoon without using my hands. But then again, if I do use my hands, I feel like I have superhuman strength. So there is that positive that kind of comes out of it as well. Caroline Cory is our guest tonight. One of the things that caught my attention as I was watching the movie, and as well as kind of studying for you, is one of the techniques you use. You mentioned that it helps reduce the need to wear glasses. Now, I am somebody who wears glasses. I hate wearing glasses. How could this help me or anybody out there?
Yeah, so what was fascinating about this blindfold technique, there are different folks around the world, practicing this technique. There's different techniques, actually. They're not all the same. And so, but what's happened is that as people were learning this technique of, being able to see with the blindfolds on, they realized that it was actually doing a lot more or different things than expected. So some people's vision started to improve. The Russian group actually have a lot of folks who are able to reduce their, farsightedness. I don't know if you're farsighted or nearsighted, but so they were able to improve their vision to the point where even it would work with blind folks. Just think about that. So blind folks would start to read, just using this technique. Something even more crazy, deaf people started to hear while they were doing this technique. Now, of course, I'm generalizing. Not every single blind person, will necessarily be able to see, but they were very successful in many, many cases, which tells us that there's something more to it. It's not just a trick. There's something that has to do with the brain. You are basically reprogramming the way your brain functions. And by blocking your normal vision, perhaps your brain kind of starts to want to function differently. And so because of that, I feel that there's a lot of hope with these techniques. Now, I can't speak for all of them. I can speak only for the ones that I've researched myself, that I've tried myself.
See, that's something that would absolutely intrigue me, because I know I have stigmatisms in my eyes. And, it is weird, though, even whether you're channeling, whether you're blindfolded or whatever, how sometimes you can see so much clearer with your eyes closed than you can with your eyes open.
Yeah, I mean, that's the third eye that kicks in. Mm-hmm. But but it's different when you are literally seeing without your eyes, I mean, so it's almost like, because this also tells us that we don't really see with the eyes, we see with the brain. It's the brain that allows us to see. And so it's just fascinating, the positive side effects that happen just from this training. And when we were teaching these kids, like I said, online, actually, one of the kids couldn't read very well, started reading better. One of the kids was dyslexic and started to also read better. And another kid also, she had good vision, but decent vision, but it improved even better. So, that's pretty incredible. But like I said, the kids are usually much easier than adults.
Well, they're open-minded. They haven't been tainted yet.
Exactly.
When does that tainted mind happen for children? When do we start to lose them to societal norms?
Oh my God. I think it really starts at the age of 3, but it gets worse and worse and worse because up until 3, you're so open. You're like a sponge. You're absorbing everything in your environment, and your brain is registering all kinds of information. And so, I think, and then when you start speaking and making sense of language and reading, it gets even more complicated. So unfortunately, you're really always absorbing all of this information at a very young age. But I think that's the reason why by the time you're a teenager, you're almost a mess. You're like, oh my God, overload of stuff.
No, absolutely. And like I look at my son, he's 7 years old, and we try to have a pretty open mind with him. Okay. He's seen things. We've caught him seeing things, and when he wants to discuss it, even though he never really talks about it, we definitely encourage him to be open-minded about things. And there's a lot of parents out there who don't do that for whatever reason or whatever parental styles that they do. But how important is it? And I know this is away from the movie Superhuman a little bit, but it kind of ties in. How important is it for us as parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles, brothers, sisters, whatever it may be, to try and promote that open learning concept to expand that mind and that consciousness feeling?
It's extremely important. I mean, the kids need the adults to let them express themselves and to explore these abilities because they're so natural. So I think if you allow your child to just explore that, that is one thing. Encourage them. Even give them some exercises to do. For example, visualization, visualize color. How does it feel? What is a vibration? How does it make you feel when they don't feel well? No, because you know that their emotions and thoughts are affecting their cells. We just talked about it for the last hour and a half, that the mind is changing the chemistry of the body. This is no longer a theory. This is real. So, you would be surprised how quickly they will get it and it will make sense to them. I've had so many kids, for example, they would say, oh, I have a tummy ache. I'd be like, okay, do you like having a tummy ache? No, I don't. Okay, so would you like to change it? Yeah, okay. So why don't you tell your tummy to feel good? And then they say, well, how do I do that? Just talk to it. Just see what happens. You like a game, and they would do it. And then it would go away. So if you just allow them to explore in this kind of fun, joyful way, it becomes natural and easy and not weird, and they will get used to doing it. And the next time they have a tummy ache or a headache or they don't feel good or somebody did something at school, okay, well, so how does that make you feel? Do you like being this way? No, I don't. Okay, so what do you want to do about it? So you tell them, put your intention, but instead of using, complicated words, just say, okay, tell it to go away. And so, and it just happens. They just do it. And before you know it, they grow up knowing how to manage themselves and bring themselves into balance,
I hear you. Caroline, we have you for about another 45 seconds. I told you this was going to go by real fast, and it completely has. Do me a favor. Tell all of our audience members where they can find Superhuman and more of your learning about the OMnium universe.
Yes, so the film, for the film, you can go to superhumanfilm.com. And for the energy work or consciousness work, you can go to omniumuniverse.com or carolinecory.com. It's the same website.
Well, we love it. Thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. I hope it's not the last, because I really enjoyed chatting with you.
I hope so too. It was great. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time too. So thank you so much. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we're going to take a little bit of a detour here because we're going to get into UFOs. Grant Cameron's research assistant, Nicole Sakic, had just an incredible encounter the other day with a UFO. and it left a present in her house. What's it all about? We'll find out next on Spaced Out Radio. Caroline, thank you so much. I hope I did you some justice there.
Oh, yeah, you were awesome. That's great. You're so fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that too. And good luck with your movie. And thank you to Mike and Lori for suggesting that you come on this program. We really do appreciate that.
Awesome. All right, my dear. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
That was fun. That was fun. All right, let's get Nicole in here, shall we? Hi, Ein. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ring-a-ling. Hear them ring. Soon it'll be UFO day. Hi, April, May, June.
Hello.
Hello, Nicole Sakic.
Hello, Dave Scott.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well tonight.
Nice.
I'm going to go to bed here in an hour or so.
Well, isn't that nice?
How are you?
Isn't that nice? Well, we got you live on YouTube right now, and the people think you're a weirdo, and that's good. That's good. And we just had a great interview with Caroline Cory. That was a lot of interesting learning. That's for sure. I actually learned something tonight. I did.
Ooh,
yes.
What'd you learn? I didn't tune in.
Well, it's the power of the third eye.
I've been momming and resting.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, let me turn up your levels here for a second, because you're kind of muffled. Almost sounds like you're laying on a pillow. You are laying on a pillow, aren't you?
Actually, I'm sitting straight up now.
Yeah, you were having your head on a pillow. I knew it. I knew you were waking.
You want me?
I knew you were sleeping. Bad.
Not yet. Seriously, I've been waiting here. Like, I can't go to sleep yet.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's been my whole weekend.
I know. All right. Well, you got 1 hour.
It's been exciting.
You got 1 hour.
Okay. Well, 1 hour. I don't know if that's enough.
Well, we'll get into it.
Tell me more about what you learned.
I just like learning about the third eye and consciousness, and the whole telepathic thing just kind of trips me out a little bit. It really does. I don't know why.
It is a little trippy.
Totally trippy. I don't get it, but it's so cool.
I used to get asked often, what is the connection of consciousness and ufology? That question started coming up a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
About a year ago. And to me, it was always kind of obvious, and maybe I skirted it a little bit, because to me, it's like, okay, if we're talking about beings that communicate with our minds, consciousness just seems like a given route to that, like obvious. So I don't know. It's not a spooky thought to me.
Me either.
And when you run around with enough experiencers, you kind of start to spot that pattern of what they're all saying by this consciousness connection, or how they connect to it. And that's where, things come into play, like Grant Cameron's book, like the contact modalities and how we can all get in our fields. And I like hearing Grant tell the story, because he says, he thought he was going to turn out with like 10, 12, contact modalities. And he said he stopped at 70 or more, a few more for the book. And I've never read his book, but I know plenty of the contact modalities, and it's great. I mean, just people don't realize that there's so many different ways to tap into this field. And I think, educating yourself is part of that.
Mm-hmm. We've got 45 seconds here.
Lovely. So how's YouTube tonight? Are they on fire?
YouTube is on fire tonight.
Is a good group out?
Yes.
Woohoo!
Yes, great people, good-looking people.
I hope they're doing happy dances.
They like the new hairdo. We've got an overwhelming response to the new hairdo.
Well, I love the new hairdo. I think it's perfect, and you did it for such a righteous cause, my friend. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
My pleasure.
that. I appreciate that. All right, here we go. We're going to get things going here. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm ready.
Music's on. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, as well as our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. We say thank you to Caroline Cory for coming on the first 90 minutes of this show. The next hour, we're going to be talking UFOs and a great sighting that happened over the weekend with our good friend Nicole Sakich. You may have heard her filling in for Dr. Chris Cogswell on Reality Paranormal with William Pullen earlier this year. Well, she is now working with Grant Cameron as a research assistant, and everybody around here knows my thoughts and feelings for Mr. Cameron, as he is an idol and a mentor of mine, and he has taken Nicole under his wing to teach her all about UFOs and all the research techniques. Nicole, welcome back.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much. It's always welcoming to be back on your show and to be able to chat with you. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. What's it like working for Grant Cameron?
It is a wild, crazy train ride. That is exactly what it is like. It's amazing. And like you mentioned, he's such a wonderful mentor, and you can learn so much from him. But I think what's most surprising to me about Grant is how just amazingly encouraging he is, not only in his own research, but in who he supports and who he gives voices to. And it's great. You know, I've met a lot of very awesome new pals lately over the last couple months. And yeah, it just doesn't stop. I think Grant has teased and laughed with me, especially through this Wilson document drama, that he asked me once if I was ready to be in the Super Bowl of ufology. And yeah, I feel like I'm, part of the halftime performance now. So it's great. Smiles all around.
I mean, when you work with Grant, you got to be prepared for not only the woo, but the who, what, where, when, why, and how as well. How are you able to balance that?
I think I will say by lack of sleep. That's how I will balance all the woo that comes with Grant Cameron and research, and not only just with Grant, but anytime you dive into these rabbit holes with your fellow experiencers and try to sort out your own experiences and others, it's always an adventure. So it's a delight.
Speaking of adventures, The other day, you had something very interesting happen to you. You are an experiencer. This has been a very, very tough thing because you and I have talked privately about this, but it was very tough for you to, come out and talk about your own experiences, that it was time for you to finally admit that you're part of the woo. I mean, I hate to put it bluntly, but that's exactly what it is. Why was that so tough for you as a UFO researcher to, not only leave the scientific side behind, even though you're still kind of going down that road, but to focus more on the experiential side of everything?
Well, yeah, and you and I have talked a lot on and off air on various topics, and this is one of them. When I, a few years ago, got kind of called, I don't want to say back into ufology or anything like that, but when I really felt a calling to not only put more of myself into ufology again, because I've been chasing my own experience since 1995. Research comes natural when you're trying to find answers for yourself. But of course, and I can laugh about this because, the whole world knows now, I live in the middle of nowhere, corn country. I have moved all over the place. Here in the Midwest, I can say we're heavy into the paranormal, but we're not too heavy into ufology. And knowing that for a couple decades, as an experiencer, you tend to put on your nuts and bolts hat. You try to go with the logical and the rational, and you learn about the history of ufology kind of on your own. I've always done a lot on my own. So a few years ago, I kind of felt this calling that it was time to put this UFO knowledge, not only just for myself, but to get it out there and talk with other experiencers, talk with people in this field, become active in this community instead of just collecting all of my own data and research and notes. And I got pushed by some very close friends of mine that I should join this social media world of ufology instead of, just being on a personal quest. So I did. I threw my hat in, and it's been fun. You meet so many new people, you start connecting, and then because, I've told you that I can talk nuts and bolts till the cows come home, and I love that topic, but I love putting my woo hat on. And I would say over the course of the last year, as I've had one foot in nuts and bolts and one foot in woo land, I knew I was going to have to make a decision and go both feet in on my woo. And I'm so glad that I did, because for so long I've been kind of a champion of, you have to take on yourself. You have to journal your experiences. You have to talk about them. You have to interact with your own experience. You can't just remain stagnant in it. Otherwise, you really will stay confused for as long as you let yourself. And I know I experienced that, and others experience that as well. And so I think that's part of my mission or my message, is to champion the experiencer a little. I've played around in nuts and bolts too long. I know the lingo. I know their angles. I know what they talk about. I respect so much of nuts and bolts ufology. I know they get a hard time from experiencers because they are very analytical and they are very scientific, and they bring that left brain into ufology. And I understand that. But what I hope for in these changing times is that maybe the nuts and bolts can start to think with the right side of their brain a little bit. And I'm not meaning politically. true right brain.
Well,
creative
and it makes
activity.
sense. It makes sense. And, you know, the big thing here is, you know, you have to be open to your experiences. And speaking of experiences, you had something pretty amazing happening over the last few days. So what exactly happened? Take us back.
Well, I actually thought it was kind of a Friday night event that was happening for me, but then I quickly realized, and thanks to Grant and just some other triggers that kind of happen when you're starting, when you realize you're in an experience, synchronicities start happening. And for myself personally, you don't often recognize what I kind of look at as experience or symptoms. And that's why I thought everything started Friday, but they kind of started even 2 weeks before in experiencer groups. Everybody's talking about how your symptoms are heightened or active, or there's a buzz, something's going on. Some people get toned, some people, you know, their dreams intensify. It's all these little things that I've noticed experiencers are all chitter-chattering about. And I was feeling this too. And I fumble through a lot of this on my own and myself. I don't necessarily realize that these moments where I feel like I'm having a panic attack without any anxiety or panic, it's like a raised vibration through my whole body. I didn't recognize that feeling for a long time. Well, it started buzzing in me a couple of weeks ago, and I just kind of take it as the excitement of what I'm doing and what I might be working on. You don't necessarily recognize it for what it is at the exact moment. So I've been talking with my experiencer pals, and then all of a sudden, here in Illinois, on Wednesday, and Grant Cameron and I are digging into orb research and collecting photos and talking with amazing people. Well, he and I are having an orb discussion panel, and we bring up a sighting from Illinois that was posted a few hours before this panel discussion. And yeah, we had 5 orbs spotted in Riverton, Illinois, and they were being reported on from a lady who was driving down Interstate 55. I think she was heading north on 55. And yeah, so those were the first reports. Of course, all the sky watchers around here kind of were like, ooh, we got one close, and it got everybody kind of excited. I'll give a shout out to my friend Carl Jones, and he's a paranormal and ufology researcher out of Springfield, Illinois. He was getting those first reports, and I was chatting with him. We were saying, ooh, how exciting, this is close. You know, this is part of our local crew here. And then Wednesday was done. And then Friday starts. And Friday morning was really amazing for me. I woke up Friday morning, all those spidey senses that have been tingling for a week, and it's like these sensations that were telling me something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. Like just this buzz all Friday morning long. And you know I'm a chef, and there's some backstories that I could tell you, but I have quite a few experiences while I'm at work. It's something about getting in a zone and being in a routine and letting your mind not necessarily focus on a task at hand. It's kind of a way to get in the field. Well, while I was at work, I started getting these strong sensations. You have to go to your sighting spot. And I feel this compulsion a lot. I take a lot of videos or just random pictures. It's like whenever I feel compelled to go to my spot, I have to go to my spot. And what I refer to as my spot is the location where I had what I thought was my first contact with an ILO or an orb or a fireball. And I first told that story on your show months ago when I was working with a historian. And it's still kind of intimidating to just talk about your experiences on a social platform, a public platform, a radio platform. And so it all takes me aback sometimes, but then I feel that same compulsion. It's like, no, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and this is it. And it's just, experiencers know you get your affirmations and your answers in certain ways, and certain signs and synchronicities, whether it's the numbers we all see or that come out to us, or these compulsive things like go to your spot. So all afternoon at work, I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to go to my spot. And I drove there like a maniac after work. It was like I was headed down the highway. It's the last country road I could turn on. And it was like, am I going home or going to my spot? Had to go to my spot. Drove out there, fly out of my car, pull out my camera, and I talk to the phenomena a lot. And so I'm here and I'm saying, I'm here. You guys called me out here. What's going on? I'm in my spot. And I'm looking west where my first ILO appeared to me. I'm looking around, and for some reason I felt compelled to look straight up with my camera. And nothing. Stayed there maybe 15 or 20 minutes. I also sent one of these videos to Grant. I was like, this is my compulsion. Like, why am I being compelled to go to my spot? I stayed at my spot. There's nothing at my spot. This is frustrating for me. And this is an aspect to me that I will forever love Grant with. He never gives me an answer on anything. He never says, well, you're feeling a compulsion for this reason or that. He never, ever says anything to me. He's like, whoa, something's going on. You just better pay attention. It's just very, very encouraging like that. So I leave my spot. I get back home. I'm chatting about the rest of my day in ufology. I'm catching up on YouTube and Facebook and chatting with my pals that are, they were even talking about the orb sighting from the other night, and, doing what I do, networking and making my friends. Well, and there are more details, and I know Grant and I will put together like a slide and do our thing and talk about it as well. And we can fill in some of these gaps. But here I am scrolling on Facebook, and I see a report from a very good high school friend of mine. And it's not an official report to my pals in Springfield or my Skywatcher crew around the counties. It's not that kind of report. It's just a random report. Hey, you guys, what is this weird balloon-shaped thing hovering above Nokomis right now? And he just has a picture, and I'm like, immediately I answer him. I'm like, Brandon, it's an ILO. And here starts me, and thank God for all my wonderful friends around here. They know me and they love me. And yeah, I'm sure they think I'm a little crazy, but I'm their crazy, so it doesn't matter.
True.
So I see this inquiry from my friend who lives in a town 5 miles east of where I live. And I am just on fire. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get to my spot. I'm running upstairs. Got to get my shoes. Still checking the phone. And then another friend of mine makes a report from Hillsborough, my town. And she's actually like 4 blocks away from me. And at this time, it's like every sensation in my body, that compulsion in my head is like screaming to my skull, get out to your spot, get out to your spot. I'm throwing on my shoes. I'm throwing all my skywatching gear into my case. I'm like talking to my dog. I'm like, oh my God, dog. Because he normally comes with me. He sees me grabbing my gear like that. He's also doing like, I'm ready. Let's do this. But I left Buster this time, and I flew back out to those rock piles. And, oh, man, get out there. Break my camera out again. And I'm like, I'm back out here.
So you're yelling at the sky, like a crazy person. Yelling at the sky, saying, hey, aliens, come check me out.
Yeah, I do. I talk to them out loud. I don't really say or think I'm talking to them. I feel more like I'm answering myself or my higher self. So it's like, I'm here, whatever reason I'm here. I'm talking to him, which I don't know if a lot of new experiencers out there or a lot of maybe people that are lost in ufology a little bit, I don't know if they realize all these ins and outs that experiencers do, like talking out loud to the phenomenon, or singing, or dancing, or all these aspects. I put it this way. Everybody kind of tears CE5 down, and it's not that I'm a champion of CE5, and I honestly have never practiced it, learned it, anything other than read about it. But the entire time I know about CE5, I've also been a almost lifelong practicer of yoga and meditation and this kind of, inner calm that you can find with those kind of activities, which kind of plays into CE5 and these types of contact initiatives. Well, experiencers come up with their own versions of CE5 all the time. They don't need the step-by-step process of somebody else. It's how we all tweak our own experiences to fit our contact modality and how we can bring our own woo into it, because you have to find your joy. You have to find your happiness. Whatever you're bringing into your experience is what you are going to get back out of it.
All right.
And I'm a firm believer in that.
So what happened? We got 2 minutes before we go to break.
All right. So I'm talking to myself and the phenomenon. I'm here. I'm at my spot. I feel compelled. It's like, turn around. And this whole time, Dave, I'm videoing. I have my cameras out. I'm taking pictures. I have a video going. I do a 360 around the top of these rock piles that I'm standing on top of, which are about 20 feet up in the air when you climb to the top. Impressive. I look all around. I'm talking, and nothing. I'm rocking out my music that everybody makes fun of. I'm sorry, my experience loves Dave Matthews a lot and other music, but so I'm playing Dave Matthews.
Sorry to hear
I'm a bit
that.
disappointed. I'm still confused again. I go back down to my car and I look up, and it's directly above me. And I burst into tears, Dave. I cried like a baby.
What was
I was
above
so overwhelmed. And we've talked about this, like experiencers going through this. It's like, what is it in that moment where you lose yourself, whether it's overwhelming joy or happiness or whatever it is? I did. I cried for about 3 minutes, and then it was like all my sky watching pals from past, present, and future just started screaming in my ear, go to Facebook Live. And so I did. I just whipped out my phone.
All right.
And that's what's on. That's what's out.
So we're going to get a breakdown when we come back. And I apologize. I had a little bit of a coughing fit there. Just felt like I got a hairball, from all my haircut there. Felt like I got a hairball in my throat, but that's okay. When we come back, we're going to learn what Nicole actually filmed. But the more intriguing part about this is what happened when she got home from filming a UFO video just this past weekend. More UFO talk on Spaced Out Radio next. Fuck, I was breathing and all of a sudden just something just got, like, it was like something got caught in my throat and it was just like instant cough fit. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me right now. So it was horrible. But
Dave, I don't really like pointing these things out to you because I think you know all these things. But that could be an experience or symptom.
Oh,
yeah. You know what I'm going to say.
Turn up the woo. I got to go get some water here.
That feeling in your throat.
I know.
Yeah, get your water.
I got to get some water. I'll be right back.
How you
For a price guide and more information,
I'm reading
please
comments.
contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Becker, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
God, that hurt my throat. It wasn't even fun. Not even fun.
Ooh. I just tried to talk on through it. I was like, Dave knows I can talk. I can talk through this cough.
There we go. Yeah, I put the commercials on. So you were talking over the commercials.
Wonderful.
You strange bugger.
That's okay.
There we go.
Hey, the strangers are better, right?
Yeah, there we go.
I was just saying hi to people that I see. That's how it goes.
It's a new hairdo. I'm not used to the flow that comes along with it. It's like the other.
I asked you if your head felt lighter.
No, it's like the other night before I went on the air. Who was I talking to on the phone? Science Bob or somebody like that. And I actually had a mosquito fly right into the back of my throat. So that sucked.
Ooh.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
Yep, that would.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a fun one for you, Dave. Me and my boy caught a bunch of tadpoles, and we have them in an aquarium, and we're watching them metamorphose every day. It's amazing. Tadpoles and ant farms and inventions.
1 second here.
No problem. I forgot to remind Grant I was coming on tonight. I thought maybe he'd be hanging out in your YouTube chat.
Oh, he's probably listening somewhere. He's probably listening somewhere. Grant's always listening.
Grant's always listening.
Grant's always listening. Hi, Grant Cameron. If you're listening, hi, Grant Cameron.
Hi, Grant.
Uh-huh.
If it's not him listening, he's got somebody like me listening for him. So, you know he's got a pack of people working for him.
Hi, Nikki. How are you? Who else we got in here? We've got 2 minutes. Fuck, that hurt my throat. Oh, well. Cough candy it. That's why I have cough candies in here.
I like this YouTube element that you've added to the show over the last few months or so.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I hated it at
fun
first.
To be interactive like that.
I hated it at first. Because I just like the anonymity of radio. But seeing the reaction from the audience is just, it's really pushed it to a different level. And they enjoy it more. So, and it's way more interactive. So.
Oh, you got a good group that follow you and listen to you. So the chat is always good and amazing and fun and, you know, woo and not woo.
Yeah. All right. We got 1 minute here.
All right.
So.
I'm resting my voice so I can continue to tell my wonderful experience.
Let me go here.
Woohoo!
All right, we got 10 seconds. Thank you to everybody who has participated in the super chat tonight. I really appreciate that. Hi, Annie. How are you? Anya. I mispronounced your name earlier, so it's Anya. Hi, Anya. I promise I will try to remember that. Here we go.
Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Glam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Kinderspiel. Kinderspiel is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Tonight we are talking about a great UFO experience that happened this weekend for researcher Nicole Sackett. She is a research assistant for Grant Cameron, and we're learning about this. So she, if you just tuning in, she was almost like being summoned by a UFO that was about to fly over. Nicole, welcome back.
Hello, Dave.
Hello.
It was like being summoned, and actually I was while I was experiencing it, I was saying I'm being called out. I'm being called out. Like I was definitely being told to be there. that's overwhelmingly obvious to me now that I had to be there. And I was supposed to be there earlier. And the whole time I was driving back out there, I was like, I should have stayed. Why didn't I stay? I should have had more patience and fortitude. And here I'm kicking myself in the rear. I'm like, how many nights have you sat out hours, endless hours, and haven't had this compulsion? I was so mad at myself that I was still simultaneously knowing that I had to raise my vibration. It's like, that's why my music was cranked. That's why I was smiling. That's why, that like peak woo. I was feeling the peak woo. And I had told you I was up on top of the rock pile. It is. It's an amazing feeling, and you just have to give into it. I have to push myself to not let my left brain kick in and go, okay, do everything so rationally and get this, set up all the cameras, do that, do this. I have to fight to shut that down, even though it's also a fight like, no, all this stuff. That's why you have to bring it into your experience as well. And so I told you I was up on top of the rock pile, did my 360 with my camera and shouting to the sky and talking to myself and them, and I'm here, and I kind of felt defeated. I'm like, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Where are you? It was that moment. And I've had a few of these moments in my personal questing of ufology. And so I came down from the top of the rock pile feeling a little defeated. And it was in that little defeated moment when I looked directly above me, and it was there. And it was powerful, and it overwhelmed me. And then I don't know if it was that little bit of the left brain that I was letting still hang out in there. It was that moment where it said loud and clear to me, go to Facebook Live. And so I did. And here I am. I'm watching this amazing thing in the sky, and what I see on my video as I'm trying to hold it so steady and just knowing that my camera is pointed directly up in the sky. I'm like, this is the worst thing. There's nothing else in the shot. There's this, there's nothing. But that's when I started bringing the joy again. I'm like, I'm here. I see you. And it starts doing its dance like they do when you see them. It's not just this stagnant thing like hovering like what was being reported, which I'm seeing that with my naked eye, and it's beautiful. And it does look sort of like a teardrop. That's where I can understand my friends saying, what's this balloon looking thing in the sky? It did sort of look like a balloon, but not like a hot air balloon that has a basket on the bottom and it's floating up in the sky. Not like what we've seen, weather balloon reports over the years of in ufology. It's like, oh, it's the weather balloon. It's sent up and blah, blah, blah. No, it was not one of those. This thing looked maybe similar to that, but upside down and no basket. It was white and bluish, and I saw it turn amber to red. It would get tiny, and it was pulsating. And in my live video, it looks like I might be chasing it through the sky and that I'm moving, but I am not. I am standing rock still. I'm facing south, but almost directly up to capture this thing. And I am zoomed in, but it starts doing the poof, I'm here, poof, I'm here, poof, I'm here, poof, I'm right here. And it's dancing around the screen, and I'm going, woo, this is wonderful, keep going, and it'll disappear, and I'm like, no, come back. Doing my thing. That's what you have to do. Last? And it gave me a hell of a show.
How long did this last?
A hell of a show for close to 5 minutes. It's close to 5 minutes. And my song's playing in the background. People were teasing me on live. I'm like, they like Dave Matthews. And my friend who started this report over in Nokomis was like, of course they like the worst song. He's even teasing. I'm laughing. My friend Carl's on the live. He's my researcher, investigator friend out of Springfield. I'm like, Carl, are you seeing this? Because he was who got the report about the 5 2 nights before. I'm like, oh, all my pals are here. They're witnessing it. And I start asking Brandon right there on live Facebook. I'm like, is this what you saw over Nokomis? And yep. And so that was amazing to me in itself. And it's popping in and out. It looks, it looks like a pinpoint of light, and then it would send out like this flare of light around it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, there's that sphere of influence, there it is. There's that projection, or what is this thing? And it's just popping, and I'm laughing, and I'm like, thank you. And all these wonderful, just overwhelming, beautiful feelings. And then it went away. And it just popped. It was gone. And I'm like, oh no, it's gone. And I let it go for a couple more seconds, and it's like I just had that feeling. Like it's like the one I had to be there, I had the feeling. It's gone. And so I shut off my Facebook Live. I'm like, woo! This is when I start like happy dancing. I'm doing my little like happy dance. I'm spinning around. I'm throwing my hands up.
Well,
going,
as you would. There's an excitement that goes along with that.
Yep. And then it popped back out for me. And I'm like, and so I snapped a few more pictures of it, and then it was gone again. I was like, thank you. It's like I needed one more like still shot, It's
right.
Like, you just need a photo. Here's your photo shot. And so I got it. And I also felt the compulsion was when I skywatch, I have 3 spots that I go constantly. They're great sky viewing spots, and they're all very personal locations to me as well. It was like, time for spot number 2. I was just so sure, like with the reports, how they came in from Nokomis, and over the course of the next maybe hour, I started finding out there was reports coming in simultaneous to what I was watching in a town south of us in Panama. And so people are even starting to report it simultaneously with me. They're out in their yards again going, what is this thing in the sky? And so I'm flying off to location number 2, but of course, like any good Montgomery County girl, when you're out at the rock piles, I had to do a fabulous 360 in my car, burning out in these rock piles, going, woo, thank you. I'm going to spot number 2, and I take off through the country.
I gotta tell you, the woos kind of hurt my ears in the headphones. You're blowing my eardrums, lady. Blowing my eardrums. Are you there? Where'd she go? I bet you she accidentally hit, in all those wooings, she accidentally hit her mute button.
Oh.
There you are. See?
Did I? I don't think I hit mute, but
weird.
Sometimes it calls me, Dave, so I can get my bearings back.
Nicole, when you got home, okay, so you race home because now you've got work to do. Now you got to break down the video. Now you have to kind of do everything that goes along with the research and the film that you just had. What happened when you got home?
Right. Well, after I went to my second location for about an hour, I did go home, and I was excited. I was like, I had knew, because I was also checking my tablet and things to see if it had shown up somewhere else, if there was any more reports of like, hey, it's here. And that's when I came across the report from Panama, Illinois, which is just several miles south of my rock pile location. And so I'm headed home, and I'm like, all right, now I have to start getting corroborating video. I have to talk to these people. I have to get them to tell me what time they were outside watching, if there was neighbors, because small town gossip and small town things happen faster than cell phones still. I don't know if people believe that or not, but it's like I can walk out in my yard right now and be like, hey, what the hell's going on? That's just how small towns are. If something's happening, you call all your neighbors out. So in my head, I'm like, I got to start talking to, whoever posted this stuff. I got to talk to their neighbors. When they were called outside, I got to do this. Left brain sort of kicked in. And I mentioned my pal Buster that usually goes with me on these things. And Buster wasn't waiting at the door for me. when I came home, which he's always waiting at the door for me. He's my buddy. He's my pal.
He's your dog.
So I'm walking in the door. Yes, my dog Buster. I'm walking in the door, and I just have like this. It wasn't quite the experience or excitement buzz. It was something else. And I'm thinking, where's my dog? Well, my dog's upstairs, acting super scared, tail's hanging low. He was under my bed. And what I realized was he was super scared, but he was also giving me that, I messed up. And my dog never messes up. It's like if he has accidents in the house, it's because I've messed up. I haven't let him out. I did this. So I obviously know something's wrong with my dog, and there's a giant puddle of dog pee in the middle of my upstairs in my house. And I'm like, whoa, Buster, what scared you, And I get him to come back downstairs with me. I'm carrying my sky watching case, and I still have my headlamp strapped to my forehead, all this silly stuff. And I sit down in my research spot in my dining room where I get online and I dig for Grant and I do my thing. And I kick one shoe off and I look directly at the table in front of me, and there's a pile of rocks sitting directly in front of me. And the first thing I thought was, oh my God, this is a big apport. This is a huge apport. And I knew instantaneously what that pile of rock meant. And it meant,
okay, so describe.
They saw me.
Go ahead.
Describe. Well, there is photos. I think Grant put the photo of the rock. I took several pictures and I took a little video. It's just rocks. It's just rocks. It's rocks from my rock pile that I was just standing on. And as dumb as that sounds, or as woo as that sounds, I never believed in apports, ever. I was like, what is this? People talk about this. These things don't happen, or they don't happen to me. Well, they have actually happened to me. As often with the phenomena, I have learned since I have put both feet in Woo Town, I've known that I would have to eat a lot of crow with some of my leftover nuts and bolts way of thinking. And I accept that. I will eat as many crow sandwiches in ufology as I have to get through my experience. Wholeheartedly, I'll cook them myself. I'll even feather the crows. So, apports. I have had a few rock apports over the last several months, and they're always a little tricky. They show up least expected. Mine like to ting at me in my metal sinks at work, my metal kitchen sink. Tink, here's a nice little rock for you, Nicole. Just kind of like, hey, yeah, we're around. We're paying attention. And that's what this pile of rocks on my table in my dining room told me. That was their way of affirming to me that they saw me there at the rock piles. There's my little rock pile for running out to those rock piles for them. And that was the apport phenomena on my table. I documented it. I walked around it. I know there's a lot of people out there going, what the heck does this have to do with anything? Well, read up, find out all about apports. They're very strange. They happen to experiencers all the time. They might not even realize they're happening. These also happen to Bigfoot experiencers as well, which I love bringing up Bigfoot with you, Dave. So that's why I had to throw that in there.
That's kind of what I do. That's kind of, I'm a good fan of Bigfoot. I guess what I'm saying is when we take a look at the entire story, you get called out by a UFO, which a lot of people will say is impossible. Okay. Now, I believe you only because A, I've had it happen to me, and B, I know you as a person and as a researcher, and I think you're pretty solid. You film this UFO, okay? You film this UFO for about 5 minutes. It disappears, then comes and gives you one last photo shot, almost like here's the selfie for you. Take it. Here it is. Then you race home because now you want to break down your video. You race home, your dog is acting really weird, and, that's always a first sign that something is off, is when your dog isn't meeting you at the door. Are you okay there?
I blamed my poor dog for something else.
Exactly. I think your headset is cutting in and out here. And then you go to
I heard it too.
You go to your research station on your table that you have set up, and there's a pile of rocks there that look to come from the area where you just were. I mean, that's a little freaky. That's a little too coincidental for a lot of people who may be skeptical, but for those of us who've experienced, that's a little freaky.
Dave, I was totally freaked out. Like, I admitted I bawled like a baby when I saw that thing. Yeah, I was freaked out, standing in my dining room, and I was like, they were here. They were here. Something was here. Something scared my dog. Something was in my house, which I fight the fear with experience, hands down. I do not want to bring fear into any part of this because I know better. I know way better. So I'm calming myself down. I'm walking my dining room like it's a crime scene. I think I even told Grant, I'm afraid to touch anything. I know if I touch stuff, I'm going to mess something up. Like, I want something better than me. And then that was all stupid as well, because I was like, no, you're your researcher. Do your own research, Nikki. So I did. I pulled out my camera. I took pictures. I, my tabletop was glass, so it looked very weird just taking pictures of the rocks. You were getting a lot of reflection. So I slid a piece of paper underneath my glass tabletop to try to make the rocks show out a little better, just little things that I was like, what can I do to document this little piece of special for me? And I did. And the rocks are in a baggie now, and they'll stay in my archive for the rest of my life. And somebody will pull them out and go, why does she have a baggie of rocks? But that's fine. It's part of it all. So honestly, I couldn't go back into my dining room till well, even into the next day, Saturday. I just let those rocks sit there. I left everything on the table how it was. It was just like, I'm just going to leave it. And I was camped out in my secondary research spot on my back porch, trying to come to grips with my Friday night and what had just happened. And I'm talking with my excited friends. I think you might have been one of them. Grant's definitely one of them. My pals in the area that had made reports, they were already sending me their pictures that they had, and a video from their neighbor who took a video too. And the neighbor was like, yes, get her this video, send it to her, leave my name out of it, but send her this video. You know how these go. So that was wonderful in and of itself. But as I was sitting there, unwinding myself, trying to come down from this experiencer high, which experiencers know that feeling. It can sometimes last for days, and it's like you vibrate so high that you just can't calm down. Well, I was trying really hard to calm down, and that's when I experienced kind of some, what I'm going to call some next level woo.
Well, that next level woo that next level woo is going to have to wait. Why? Because we've run out of time. We'll have to bring up that next level woo next time. Well, I know it goes fast.
Well, Dave, I'm going to make some more posts about it, and of course, I have more videos and photographs that I'll share. But the early morning hours of my Saturday, which is my late Friday night now, was an experience in and of itself. in my own exploring this contact phenomena, I was like, what can I do to maybe harness this energy? Like, so I was meditating on that. And as I began to meditate, a couple things became very clear to me. I had three things. I got three little
Nicole,
tiny messages.
you're gonna have to share them. You're gonna have to share them next time. We ran out of time. Nicole Sackett, researcher for Grant Cameron. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio coming up. I tried, dear. I tried to get it all in. I apologize.
I know. Oh, Dave, I knew it wouldn't be. But, number one was this, go out all weekend. Go out all weekend. It became very clear to me that Saturday night was part of the adventure, too.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about it again.
Yeah.
We will. Absolutely. I can't stop talking about it now.
I know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Especially when you're called outside and that shit is like right there. It's so cool.
Oh. Dave, I know you've heard a lot of this. You've heard it all. You've heard the whole story by now.
Yeah.
But last night, as I couldn't shut my brain off because I didn't sleep, I got called out again in my yard. And I was like, okay, what's this? Because it was just like, go out to your porch. Go out to your front porch. And it's like 4:30 in the morning. Birds are just starting to tweet. The sky looks all nice, like it's getting ready to get bright. You can still see all these stars. And I look up, and there's this beautiful satellite that comes cruising across the sky like satellites do. And in my head, it's like, that's not what you saw. There, now you definitely know that's not what you saw. And it was almost like laughing at me, like, ha, 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 here's that last little laugh to the left side of your brain going, You're not going to shove some rational, analytical explanation onto this because that ain't what you saw. Ha, ha, ha.
I know the feeling.
That was a nice
feeling.
way. Yep. It's a nice way to wrap up the sleeplessness. But that's going to end with you, Dave. Whenever you and I hang off, socks are coming. Get off the phone. The socks are coming off, and I'm crawling in this big giant king size bed, and I'm going to sack out.
Get to bed. You need it. Go to sleep.
All right. Thank you, my friend.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, Dave. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Love her. Love her. All right, getting the news ready. Yeah, we'll bring Nicole back on. She's just a little overexcited right now because this is kind of cool for her. We've got about 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Tonight was fun. PBR, you make me laugh. 90 seconds. Hey, Dutch, what's happening? You're Dutch. Good old Dutchman. That's Gary Vermeer there, the owner and creator of Mighty Moose Beard Oil right here. Well, little dab will do ya. So you throw a little Mighty Moose beard into your hands, or if you got long hair and you want to get the knots out, you throw it in your hands. You just a little drop. You give your hands a little bit of a rub there, and you just do some of this or some of this, which I can't do anymore. And, you go to mightymoosebeard.com, use the promo code SOR2019. Gary's going to hook you up, with some beard oil, some beard balm, maybe a hat or a t-shirt or a toque, beanie for you Americans who get confused easily. And you know what? The best part about it is, especially for the Americans listening in, okay, you're paying in Canadian funds. Yeah. You're paying in Canadian funds. So if it's $25 Canadian, it's about $6 American. Well, a little bit more than that, but you get the gist. So go support my buddy Gary at mightymoosebeard.com. Yeah. You need it. That's all good. And Gary's Dutch, by the way, so you'll never see another dollar from him. Ever. Ever. He still has his first dollar sewn to his underwear. All right, guys, let's get to the news. Shall we?
Come.
A little bit of thunder. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Speaking of the news, oh yeah. Let's get to it, shall we? Here we go. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the euphoric. But I mean that in a way of UFOs. Yeah. According to the National UFO Reporting Center by our good friend Peter Davenport down in Washington State, there have been more than 4,000 UFO sightings so far in 2020, meaning that this year we're already well on our way of perhaps eclipsing last year's 5,971. If you want to look at the increase of odds of seeing a UFO for yourself, you're in luck. Using the New Fork database, this is what it looks like. If you're in Montana, you're number 2, 9.17 sightings per 100,000 people. Idaho, well, they're out there picking potatoes. Good potatoes there. Are 9.18 sightings per 100,000, followed by New Hampshire, Maine, New Mexico, Vermont, Wyoming, Hawaii, Washington State, and Connecticut. I am surprised that Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania are not on here. Now, if you want to avoid UFOs, data suggests you should head to Texas for 1.29 sightings per 100,000 people, Louisiana, followed by New York, Maryland, or Illinois. Yes. And if you want to take a look at the big rankings, just Google New Fork, and you'll get right to it. 2 veteran Lethbridge, Alberta police officers have been demoted over unauthorized surveillance of former Alberta Environment Minister Shannon Phillips and people she met with over a controversial government decision. Sergeant Jason Carrier and Constable Keon Warneruk admitted to using their positions for personal and political reasons in connection with increasing protections in the Castle region of southwest Alberta. Why? Oh, this is funny. You see, they both temporarily got demoted by the police department after a disciplinary hearing, as the surveillance was launched after a new provincial park was announced in the Castle region by the former NDP government in January 2017. The changes included restricting unregulated off-road vehicle use. And here's the problem. The 2 cops both used the area for off-road vehicle use. Carrier was on duty, but on a meal break when two other officers, when Phillips entered the chief's Chef Stella diner to informally meet with stakeholders on the Castle Region changes, Carrier texted Warnick, who was acting sergeant on duty at the time, with a picture of the meeting and location. Warnick attended the dinner shortly thereafter. In conversation between the two uniformed officers as they left the diner after taking photos of the meeting, they said, "We'd hate to see Phillips drive away from the restaurant, and there was a reason to stop her." Oh my goodness, look at this. Corruption over ATVing in Canada. Does it get any more worse than this? Yeah, Carrier went back to the police station shortly after seeing Phillips leave the diner by foot. Warnock said one of the stakeholders leaving the diner in a vehicle and followed them to see if the driver committed a driving infraction. Oh, these guys are serious. So anyways, the penalty will see the constable demoted from senior constable to first class constable for 2 years. Carrier admitted to discreditable conduct and neglect of duty and was demoted to senior constable from sergeant for 1 year. The Lethbridge Police and City Hall did not reply to most media requests. A spokesperson for Phillips said she would publicly comment soon, but wants to review the revelations contained in the penalty decision first. Okay, that's an abuse of power. Let's just be honest. Look, I like ATVing. It's a lot of fun. There are some things I don't understand, but there's a lot of people who abuse nature and a lot of people who tear it up. All right? It's true. I've seen it happen. All right? But using your position of privilege in order to try and justify doesn't make sense. Horrible move. Horrible. Coquitlam, British Columbia veterinarian Dr. Rajan Kansal says pets are getting cannabis poisoning, and it's on the rise since the legalization of marijuana in Canada since 2018. But now we're starting to see, from very rare to a little bit more often, animals ingesting cocaine. Yeah, that's possibly what happened to a Siberian husky named Halo, Dr. Kansal says. Halo was brought into his clinic by owner Casey Wu after he began to have strange symptoms. That's when a urine test came out. They gave the dog a drug test here. And it came strongly positive for cannabis and slightly positive for coke. Who are these dogs' friends outside of the kennel? Yeah, it wasn't 100% confirmed, but we had suspicions that he had slightly positively tested for that. So that's how we treated it for positivity, said Dr. Kansal. It could be the ingredient that there was a very low quality. Halo's misadventure began early that day. See, here it goes. When he was out running alongside Wu, who was cycling near Simon Fraser University. About 20 minutes after they got home, that's when the strange symptoms began. She said Halo began having convulsions, hind legs, in other words, a bad trip. It wouldn't stop his support his weight, and he laid down, closing his eyes. The dog was stoned. Wu said his breathing became shallow and he had to carry him to the car to go out to the vet's clinic. It was like he was paralyzed, like he couldn't function at all. I was speechless, he said. Your dog was stoned, man. And then he goes on to say, when she heard the results of the urine test, Wu said she was in shock. I was speechless. Like, it's seriously like something I've never would have came to my mind. It sounds like something impossible. The only source of the poisoning that Wu could think of was that something that Halo had gotten into while they took a break at the university. She went back to investigate and found what looked to be crumbled remains of a brownie or a chocolate cake. Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Your dog's a stoner. Okay? Your dog's a stoner. It has a problem. It needs to go into rehab. That's what it comes down to. Anyways, Dr. Kansal says chocolate could also be harmful for the dogs depending on how much was consumed, and that combined with the pot and the cocaine further caused the worry, and the dog could have died. But the good news is Halo has survived his bad trip. Let's get to another one here. So, apparently, Elon Musk feels that he could put a little chip in your brain. So that way, if you suffer from addiction or depression, you can be cured. That's what he wants to do with Neuralink, by the way. He goes, for sure, this is both great and terrifying. Everything we've ever sensed or thought has been electrical signals. The early universe was just a soup of quarks and leptons. How did a very small piece of this universe start to think of itself as sentient? Oh, he's getting deep. And he believes that, and he said this in 2019, that Neuralink can solve schizophrenia and autism during an appearance at the Artificial Intelligence podcast with Lex Fridman. Musk was asked what he believes the most exciting effects of his company Neuralink's technology will be. He goes, so Neuralink, I think, at first will be able to solve a lot of brain-related diseases. So maybe he could make me talk clearly rather than stumbling all the time. Anyways, he goes on to say this could be anything from autism to schizophrenia, memory loss. Like everyone experiences memory loss at some point in age. Parents can't remember their kids' names and that kind of thing. Autism is not a disease that can be cured. It is a developmental disability. The UK National Autistic Society states autism is not an illness, can't be cured. Often people feel that being autistic is a fundamental aspect of their identity. Similarly, schizophrenia is not a disease, but is classified by the World Health Organization as a severe mental disorder. So we'll see where this Neuralink thing goes. Not a fan of it. Okay, don't need chips in our body. Unless it's going to let us live for like 800-900 years, then maybe. Okay, but we're not there yet. We're not there. An Alaska Airlines flight was forced to make an emergency landing in Seattle after a passenger decided that it would be smart and threatened to kill everybody on board. Yeah, you know, that's always... Here's the thing. I could guarantee you in today's society, ever since, I don't know, 9/11, 2001, that when you mention that you were on a plane and you're threatening to kill everybody on board, that's going to lead to a really bad day. Okay? No sarcasm there at all. You're not starting your day off very well. Okay? So there's video footage from the incident shows a man wearing a face mask moving through the cabin of Flight 422 bound for Chicago yelling, "I will kill everybody on this plane unless you accept Jesus was a black man." Oh, this just gets worse. Just gets worse. As he moves past alarmed passengers in their seats, he is heard shouting, "Accept it and die in the name of Jesus" multiple times. According to Alaska Airlines, the flight took off around 11:15 from Seattle and SeaTac Airport, and the incident kicked off about 20 minutes into the flight. The man became extremely belligerent and physically aggressive during the ascent, says an Alaskan Airlines spokesperson. 3 passengers, including a law enforcement officer and a flight attendant, helped subdue the man. In the clip obtained by the media, the men are seen following the suspect down the aisle while everyone else is buckled in during the ascent. One man then shoves the suspect and is joined by a second gentleman who helps subdue him. Yeah, the video filmed by the passengers shows the pair taking him down as a flight attendant rushes over what appears to be zip ties to restrain his wrists. A worried woman moves out of her seat before the flight attendant climbs over the chair to get the suspect. Oh yeah, this is a real brouhaha here. A man detaining the suspect is heard yelling at him to stay on the ground. I mean, honestly, if I was on that flight, okay, I'm beating the tar out of the guy. I'm knocking him cold. Okay, you got to hit this guy in the head. You have to. Got to knock him out for just being an idiot. All right? You got to. Got to knock him out. Yeah, the cabin crew then announced, by the way, the flight would be landing at the nearest airport. The plane was forced to return back to SeaTac. Following the emergency landing, the man was taken off the plane by the Port of Seattle police. He was reportedly cooperative and booked into King County Jail. He was not immediately charged with a crime, but was being investigated on suspicion of harassment. His motivation was unclear. You got to take the chance to hit him. You do. I know a number of you may not like that. Okay, but old Davey's a little old school that way. You want to threaten to kill me on a plane? You got to get knocked out. You just have to. That's just the way it is. A sealed copy of the 1985 video game Super Mario Brothers has set a new world record when it was just auctioned off for $114,000. You heard me right. The highest price ever paid for a video game. Heritage Auction said the copy of Nintendo's entertainment system game was considered especially rare because it was part of a short production run with a cardboard hang tab underneath the plastic, a feature found shortly after Nintendo started using shrink wrap instead of stickers to seal boxes. Anyways, the demand for this game was extremely high, and if any lot in the sale could have hit a number like that, it was going to be this one, said Heritage Auction's video games director Valerie McClecky. Heritage said the winning bid of $114,000 set a new record for the sale of a video game, which was previously set by another copy of the same game that sold for just over $100,000 in February 2019. A heated exchange over mask wearing at a Dairy Queen drive-thru in Medford, New York, has led to an employee being demoted. The expletive-filled encounter went viral, pitting a customer and a maskless manager who was in breach of the state's health and safety protocol. Brandon Trotta had his children in the car when he found himself embroiled in the kerfuffle with a DQ staffer who refused to put on a face mask while serving customers. Statements posted on the social media from corporate headquarters confirm the staffer has been demoted and is being provided additional training. Yeah, Trotta apparently pulled up to the window to collect his blizzards that he ordered when he spotted an employee working without a mask. It has been mandated in the state of New York that all restaurant workers during their shift must wear a face mask. The manager, or the employee who was manager to boot, refused. "You want me to be a Karen?" the manager said. Her name was Deb. Asked in the video in referring to the pejorative slang term of angry or entitled, oft-times racist white woman, because I'll be a Karen, okay? Holy cow, she's totally going Karen here. Trotta then asked for his money back, prompting Deb, or Karen, to order an employee to give him his effing money and get the F out of here. "And don't come back," she said, slamming the drive-thru window shut. "Put your mask on before you get your employees sick," he said, before pulling away. The manager then could be seen giving him the middle finger through the glass. Trotta recorded the incident on his smartphone and shared it on Facebook, tagging Dairy Queen in the process. Oh, that's just not good. Just not good. You know, you got to have some fun with that. Got to have some fun. It's blizzards, man. Blizzards. But put the mask on. Put the mask on. You're dealing with people and food. A man in Maricopa has been arrested for allegedly stealing catalytic converters to cover a gambling loss. 34-year-old Daniel Danforth was being held on suspicion of burglary and third-degree possession of burglary tools, possession of dangerous drugs, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Yeah, you can see where this one's going. Old Danny here, you know, he's not your typical good citizen. A man told Maricopa police that he had parked his car to do business. When he returned, he saw someone underneath the vehicle, but the suspect fled in a green pickup truck. The Casa Grande Dispatch reported police found the exhaust pipe of the victim's car had been cut. Police said the man may have been trying to steal its catalytic converter, which reduces the amount of pollutants and toxins that the vehicles produce. Authorities say the thieves steal the devices because they can be sold to recyclers and are expensive to replace for car owners. Police later stopped Danforth driving in a truck matching the description from the previous report. Officers said they allegedly found a portable electric saw in Danforth's truck and a freshly cut catalytic converter, plus a small bag of meth in his pocket. Oh, you know meth had to be involved here. You just knew it. Danforth police, by the way, said he had lost money at a casino, was looking to regain his losses. Thanks for the clown, Marty. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Your thoughts on whether or not ET contact should be involved with UAP disclosure. Marty, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show. We love our veterans here. Thank you for your service, Marty. Yes, the two phenomena are related and disclosure on both should be the main goal. Alcatraz 1, UAP. Is UFO politically incorrect? If you keep changing the terminology and acronyms without sane reasoning, you'll reduce your slice of the paranormal pie to hardcore followers only, Dave. The guy that has a job and not enough time to Google everything will go away. Oh, Shan, I'm saving yours. Ronnie, if I have contact, I'm not telling them. Jim Goodall. We got to get Jim back on the show. All UAP, UFO information and photos should be presented to the public for us to decide for ourselves. Tim. Yes, tell it all. Not one entity, agency, or three-letter agency has the only right to the truth that involves the entire world. Barry. It's an irrelevant question, Dave. As such, will never occur. Way too many problems with all this in terms of the way it would affect the human race. Disclosure could be the single most destructive information ever given to the human race. I agree with you, Barry. Captain, if we are talking about ET contact on Earth, how can that be separated? Wouldn't it require UAP for ET to get here? Oh, wait. If ET and his vehicle were introduced to Earthlings, his vehicle wouldn't be unidentified anymore, would it? Each should be dealt with individually unless they show up on Earth together. Renee, don't you mean UFO? Honestly, why are they trying to rewrite the book on this and give it a new name? It has been fine for decades, so it should still be what it is, UFO. Now, in saying that, of course, ET contact should be included in disclosure. Isn't that what disclosure should be about? Quit the lying and keep things hitting. Stop it. Stop it, Renee. That's what she's going. Heidi. I always wondered at the level of human arrogance where we would assume that we absolutely have any control over any type of disclosure. Do we really think that if aliens want to announce their presence, we have a say in the matter? Nicole. If we and now the public take UFO, UAP seriously in the public eye, we cannot tolerate anything less than to stand behind the experiences and contactees and let their voices be heard. Disclosure equals the dawn of the experiencers. And if we are passing out Greer redemptions and all of this disclosure chatter, I ask for the Adamski redemption. I am so tired of experiencers getting dismissed whenever we are the ones not running around scared of disclosure and the ramifications. Bring it on. Woo. Kevin, nothing to be honest. Anything less, too. Penman, are we talking about disclosure from the U.S. government or civilian entities? I would say, of course, ET contact should be disclosed with UAPs. Melinda, absolutely. Discussing the craft without discussing who's flying them makes no sense. That'd be like discussing the car, but not the driver. It's who's driving that matters. And we've learned more from them than we've learned from their ships. Trust me on this. Park, never going to happen. Not on the level people want anyways. There's something within the framework that, if known, would really send humanity into chaos. That truth will never be released. And finally, Shanna gets the final word tonight. Oh yes, this is a beauty on Twitter here. Now that I've seen this, I just can't stop laughing. UAP stands for ugly ass poodle on the Urban Dictionary. So she says, instead of urban slang, can we just keep using UFO? Hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to Shanna and everybody else for participating in the Thought of the Dave on Twitter and Facebook. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire. You can find it on our website. And to Caroline Cory for coming in the first 90 minutes and Nicole Sackett for the next hour on this show. We really appreciate that. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. And everybody participating in our chat rooms on YouTube, Spreaker, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and all the snarkers and snarkettes on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You were great tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, make a mistake, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Remember, everybody, the Woo train may have docked for the night, But tomorrow, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, there's room for them too. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Yeah, baby. Oh. All right. How we all doing? That was good stuff. Uh-huh. What am I looking for? I'm looking for that one. Shanna, that was a brilliant tweet, by the way. A brilliant tweet. Uh-huh. Brilliant tweetly. Hey, John Hudson, how's your hat tonight? Yeah, Dave's got a new hairdo. Oh, for you, the beautiful Lisa Marie. You're going to be wearing the real hair soon. I'll be right back, people. All right. Old Davy's back. Oh. Let's go here. Show all. Let's download this one. And let's go like this. Move all this over here. Like that. I am tired today. Oh. Sorry about the coughing fit earlier. That was weird. Anyways, like this. That's good. Like this. That's cut. Do. No, Doug and Shadow. Doug Stevenson and Shadow Carpenter. I gave him last names too. Because that's how I roll. Just to be blunt. All right, let's start the whole editing process. Today, my sister turned 53. I hope I don't lose my woo experiences because of the short hair. There's SOR1. Hey, Nicole, I know you're still watching. Come into our YouTube chat. Hey, Janet Pirate. Thank you. Is Lisa still here? Oh, yes. Lisa, I'm hoping to get, I was going to ship out my hair tomorrow to you. Okay. But I'm all alone at work tomorrow. So I'm going to likely ship it out on Wednesday. So if it doesn't get stopped by immigration for whatever reasons, which I hope it doesn't, I'm going to put a note on there. Then it would be really cool. All right, so that's kind of the plan right now, but I will get that to you. Oh, I never talk about my daytime job. That's for me. There's certain things that I won't talk about because I like to have a little bit of quiet personality and privacy. I learned that the hard way when a couple years ago I had when my nephew passed away. I had a couple of listeners. They're not in this chat room, but I had a couple of listeners track down my real name, which I don't mind. It's not that I'm very private about it, but they went and started posting condolence letters on my nephew's memorial page, and that kind of didn't sit very well with me. So I know they didn't do it to be malicious or anything like that. They did it out of concern and out of love for me and what, the pain I was going through with the loss of my nephew. And, so I mean, it's kind of bittersweet, but it kind of opened my eyes a little bit that I have to at times be a little bit more private, so that's kind of what that's about. So certain things I don't discuss on the show. That's why I rarely mention my family or their names or anything along those lines. So it's not out of being rude or anything like that, but I do like to have a little bit of privacy, and yeah, so that's where I kind of, like I said, I'm not trying to be a dick here or anything like that. Please don't take it that way. But that whole thing with my nephew really resonated with me. So yeah. That's that. Yeah, I took off 15 inches of hair. We measured it out with a tape measure. I gotta find that thing. There it is. All right, let's get this one. Pretty much time to get your 6-digit verification code. It's that time of the night again to do the old verification code. All right. Your verification code tonight is 713510. That verification code, once again, is 713510. Use it properly, people. Show with me on Fridays, Lieutenant Tim McMillan. Which reminds me, I should message him. Where is he here? Yeah, we got a good week. Tomorrow night's Mary Rodwell. Merle and Ghost of the Great White North on Wednesday. Brett Farrell on Hypnotherapy Thursday. Tim McMillan Friday. It's going to be great. We got a great week. Another power week. All thanks to Cory, who's enjoying his vacation right now. That's why Cory hasn't been around. He's been on vacation. Later, Chemical. You take care. Have a great night. Go to the old Dropbox. Why does it do this? Did this again. Done. Upload folder. Upload. Upload. There, finally. Good night, John. Good night, Renee. Thank you for coming in. Good night, Shanna Banana. Vector Scalar. Thank you so much. You know, you're always coming in late, Vector Scalar. I don't even know what vector scalar is. I gotta look that up. What is vector scalar? Let's see. Oh, it's a NASA term. Scalars and vectors. It's totally physics. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Dude, it's like what time is it there? I think, what are you, 9 hours ahead? So it's what, 9:22 in the morning there? Oh, where did I find that? Yeah, it's 12:24 British Columbia time too. Oh, it's 8 hours. Okay. I've never been to England. Never been there. What the hell is this? Portion of this. Hold on, I gotta just see. I got flagged on something and I don't know why. Playback devices. Let's go here. See what this is about. see here. What is this about?
Working away. Figured what the hell. So you can work with me. I'm going to play some
Okay.
tunes.
Oh, yes. All right. Hey, Schultz. Larry, how are you? Oh, where are we here? Get rid of that. The Stu Gerson. Could be one or the other, Larry. Let's just be honest. Do we really know how to spell Texas? Oh, Neowise was just over Nanaimo a few minutes ago. I'm going to go outside and see if Neowise is out there. That makes sense. All right, one down. And we got like 4 minutes left. Hey, Nick N. How you doing? No, I am about an 8-hour drive west of Calgary. All right, that time of the night, people, where I got to get to bed here. I want to say thank you for all your love, your support, and everything that you guys do to make this every night special. And I want to say a big thanks to all of you guys for tuning on in. We'll do it all again tomorrow and every night this week. So yeah, let's have a little fun here, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. You guys go get some rest. I'm gonna go get some rest because I'll be honest with you, I'm tired. And